touches our heart very deeply that you committed personally with the cause of the identification of the unknown soldiers in the Darwin cemetery. So thank you very much.
It touches me deeply too.
What made you decide to commit yourself?
Gabby Concifi wrote to me out of the blue. She sent me an email, I think, just telling me the beginnings of the story and saying that she wanted to try it. I think she'd written an article about it. I think she sent me the article that she'd written, actually. But nobody was taking much notice, so she wanted to enlist the help of others to encourage people to pay attention to the predicament of these mothers and fathers, families of these boys who'd been killed in the Malvinas. So, and, as you know, who were lying in graves that had been properly buried and couldn't get permission to send in a Red Cross forensic team to identify them via DNA. So I think the first thing that we did was we went to see Kirchner, who was president then. She said that she would support this initiative, and she did.
You've been very critical. You called Bolsonaro a neo-fascist. What are your fears about Brazil's Bolsonaro from now on?
Well, obviously, the unfortunate thing is Bolsonaro will destroy Brazil as fast as he can, and hopefully with a knock-on, just like Trump is doing in the United States of America. Trump is destroying anything that was of any value in America. That's his brief. So immediately he got in power, he put Greg Pruitt in charge of the Environmental Protection Agency. This is a guy who's been fighting and suing the EPA for 20 years on behalf of petrochemical companies. He's put in charge of Betsy DeVos, Secretary of Education, and so on and so forth. He has put people into positions of power in every department of government specifically designed to destroy the United States and the rest of the world. It's beyond all of my... Bolsonaro will do exactly the same thing. Now, the first thing he did, the day after he won the election, he announced that Brazil is going to move the Brazilian embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem, which is like you might just as well light another stick of dynamite and lob it into the Middle East. That's what that is saying. We don't want peace in the Middle East. We have no interest in there ever being any resolution to the Israel-Palestine.
In a point, we seem to be trapped between the far right and the far left.
Yeah.
What do you think of the situation of the humanitarian catastrophe in Venezuela, for example, and the Maduro's regime?
Well, obviously, I think it's tragic. It's tragic, but all the humanitarian disasters all over Latin America and South America in the last couple of years have been tragic. The colonization and the way it was done back then in the day, in the 15th and 16th and 17th centuries, was tragic. We didn't understand then that we're brothers and sisters. The Portuguese treated the indigenous people of Brazil like animals. The Spanish treated the indigenous peoples of all the rest of South America and Latin America as if they were dogs. They gave them they had no rights. They were there to be stolen from and slaughtered.
That's why you invited a Mapuche band to share your stage.
That's one of the reasons, yeah. I travel around, I'm lucky enough in my job to travel around the world a lot. And so I have met lots of indigenous people in Australia and New Zealand, but also in Canada. And I've been very involved in Ecuador, helping to fight a legal battle against Chevron.